going to bring you along on my journey of canning by myself for the first time. Usually I can with my husband, but I'm going to do some canning today. I went and bought all the stuff that I need to make homemade soups, and so I'm going to make a simple beef stew today. So I pretty much have everything ready. I just need to finish cutting up my potatoes. Okay, now that I have all my potatoes cut up, I'm going to get everything into the stock pot, and then I'm going to heat up everything. I've already got my roast that I'm using. I put that in the crock pot yesterday so that today wasn't too much cooking and canning. So I got that in the crock pot with all the seasonings on it that I wanted. And then got everything out of all the spices that I'm going to be using and our beef broth. Already have all my jars clean, lids clean, rings clean. I already have the water in the canner. So let's get started adding everything in to the stock pot. Those in. I'm going to go ahead and add the potatoes in. And then once I get the potatoes in, then I will move it back onto the burner and get the burner turned on. Now I am leaving the skins on the potatoes because we actually do like the skins left on our potatoes, even in mashed potatoes. But if you don't like having the skins on, you can adjust it to however you would like. And peeling them is okay too. And I'm going to add some more water. I'm going to actually add some water to our stock that we got going on here. I have no idea how much this is going to make in quarts. We'll be surprised together. Let's start with that for now. Okay, I just need to get my cutting board cleaned back up. That water is really hot. Definitely want to make sure that your hands are always clean while you're touching different foods and doing any of your canning. Don't want to accidentally put in some type of a germ in there. Okay. Let me get that back on. Totally forgot what I was doing. Okay. And then my roast. This is what my roast looks like. It smells really good. And I sampled it last night, and it is delicious. I put rosemary and thyme and garlic powder, and I measured with my heart, and then a beef rub. And so for the roast, I browned it in a cast iron skillet before I put it in the crock pot. And then once I got it in the crock pot, I put all seasonings on it. Oh, I also use salt and pepper too. And when I'm cooking like that, especially like roast and other types of meat, I don't typically measure anything out. I just measure till my heart is content. And now, come summertime, when we actually have produce fresh and available in the garden, I will be canning more soups because it is just so quick and easy to have on hand. And so much more delicious than a store-bought soup. Although we do buy store-bought soups. We typically buy them when they're on sale. And I have found that the best sells on soups that I have ever found have been at local grocery stores, not big box chains. trying to get it kind of all somewhat cut up consistently. And today is the first day that I will be using our new All-American 930 pressure cooker. It is large. We had one that would hold 7 quarts and this one holds 14. So we'll see how this goes today. Hopefully I don't blow up the house. I'm just kidding. Okay. Get this dumped in. Hands washed back up. Having more cleaned up. Wash as you go. Makes cleanup time a little bit easier. But, you know, sometimes I also need to practice what I preach too, so. It's all fine. Set that in there. So far we just have the meat and potatoes in. And now I'm gonna add some seasonings. I'm putting in some rosemary right now and just kind of measuring with my eyes, with my heart, and some thyme. That's taking forever. Okay, now for some paprika. That was about a teaspoon of paprika. And that was a heaping mound in the teaspoon of garlic. Okay. Now I'm going to get the frozen vegetables and get those in so that it's not a shock to the jars whenever we go to put them in. So we're going to get those warmed up too. So doing 1 bag of the sliced carrots. this is a bag of mixed vegetables, carrots, green beans, corn, and peas. Now you could add celery in if you would like, but that's if you like it. I do not. I think I'm going to do one more bag of mixed vegetables. Okay. Grab my nifty trash bag. I can get some cleanup going. All these potato pieces that had bad spots. That's set out the way for now. I'll have more stuff to throw away eventually. And I'm just going to work on getting most of the soup warmed up. I don't want it to be cold. I'm not cooking the potatoes, just kind of getting everything kind of warm so that when I go to pressure pan, they don't explode. And in canning, you'll see many people do things differently. Like you'll see somebody will warm up all of their jars before they put in their hot food. And my husband and I, we don't do that. What we do, and you'll see whenever I go to fill the jars, is we'll put a little bit of the hot food in the jar and then move to the next jar and add a little bit in there so that it kind of helps get it warmed up a little bit faster. And then after that, then we go back to the very beginning and we will start filling the jars completely. I don't even think I'm going to use that. I'm going to try to taste test. Just to see if the broth has any flavor, if I feel like I need more garlic or thyme or rosemary. That's actually really good. Yeah. Maybe a little bit of pepper. These salt and pepper shakers are amazing. You can find them on Amazon. I think you can pretty much find anything on Amazon, but and you could also add onions to this recipe too. I just wasn't feeling onions this go around. That's what it's like with having a little bit of salt and pepper. Oh yeah. That's going to be really good with some homemade bread. Cornbread. Yep. Yep, that's definitely gonna be tasty. Okay, so I'm gonna give that a couple minutes to warm up, and then we will come back and start filling these jars. Okay, so now that our soup is all warmed up, our canner is about to boil, we're going to start filling our jars. So there are some things that you are going to need while you're canning. One of them is a canning funnel that you can set in there, and it fits wide mouth and regular mouth jars. And then second, obviously, canning jars. You're going to want for pressure canning, jars that are like this. Water bath canning, this is one that I keep straws in, but I'm out of straws. Just jars like this. So like jars that, you know, some pickles come in. The canner grabber, it has a specific name. It eludes me at the moment. So you're able to just pick the jar up, even when you have your lids and rings on, which you have to have lids and rings, obviously. And most jars, especially like ball canning jars, when you buy them brand new, they come with the lids and rings already on them. Now, if you are like most people, like us, and you're wanting to get into canning and you've never canned before, it can seem daunting and expensive, and it doesn't have to be. You know, check out the Facebook Marketplace. You know, post on your Facebook or any social media that you might have that you're looking for canning jars and a canner, you know, all sorts of things that you are going to need, because somebody somewhere has some. We have amassed a boatload of canning jars just by talking to people. We have had people say that they have so many and they just gave them to us. We've seen where people have posted on Facebook that, you know, Grandpa died 15 years ago and Grandma died 9 months ago. You know, God rest Granny and Gramps' souls. But the kids and grandkids are trying to clean out the basement, and the only hiccup is all the canning jars have food still in them. So you might have to dump the food and clean the jars, which that's what we have done. And we ended up with over 100 jars just off of one family, because the kids and grandkids didn't want to can like the grandparents did. So it doesn't have to be daunting, and it doesn't have to be expensive. And another thing that I highly recommend getting is the Ball Home Preserving Cookbook. You know, gives you all the how-tos, you know, how long to water bath jams and jellies and tomato-based foods in, how long to pressure can, how much, weight needs to be on it. We will link everything in our Amazon storefront so that you're able to get your eyes actually on it and can kind of see what all you're needing. Another thing is a ladle. We actually have a really large ladle, but I think I organized and I don't know what I did with it all, but I'll find it. Probably in a spot that I was like, I'll remember I put it there, and it shouldn't have been there. But that's neither here nor there. Okay, so we have our lids in here and some boiling water. That really I've already cleaned them, but it also kind of really helps sterilize them. And then also when you put your lids on and put your rings on, it helps create a seal to the jar. So we are going to get started on that. Oh yeah, we're getting there. And we're going to get started. This is going to take me forever and a day with this small ladle, but it'll be alright. We'll power through. So, as I said, we put just a little bit of hot in it, like that, and then I'll move to the next one, and then I'll come back to that after I get the jars filled, and then finish filling it up. I'm kind of starting with 7 quart jars. That might be too many quart jars, or I might need to actually go grab a couple more and get them washed up so that I can continue the canning process. Actually, I'm just going to continue starting with the 5. We'll see how that goes. Some liquid in there. And you're going to want to, when you get your jars full, leave about 1 inch of headspace. If I knew the actual reason why, I would tell you, but it's in the ball canning book. Boiling. And also, you don't need a large kitchen to can in, because if you've seen on our channel, we're in the process of renovating a house. So where we are currently living used to be a garage with an old wooden floor. Probably should have tore it down. Did we? No, because we're the Bealers and we don't do anything simple. So we needed a place to live because there was no rental houses available in our area. There was some in another town that we were actually living in, but they were out of our budget. Ow! Hurt my arm. Anywho, so we stopped demo on our house, had to kind of build back some temporary walls, on areas that we had not gutted so that we could live in that while we converted this old garage into a guest suite, a guest house, mother-in-law suite, however you would like to look at it. That is what we did. It is 1 bedroom, 1 bath, with a kitchen, living room. We have a table set up kind of in the middle of the living room and kitchen that we use as our dining room table. And there's 5 of us that live here. Myself, my husband Eric, and our 3 younger kids. And it can be kind of crowded at times, but we make it work. It's fun most days. And our kitchen is small, but we're still able to do canning. FedEx is here. That means my Thrive Market order is here. It's one of our favorite FedEx drivers. Her name's Angie. We're kind of partial to her. Now, your pressure canner, definitely make sure that you read what the manufacturer says to do, because each one's a little different. So the manufacturer for the All-American for the 930 says to have, for pressure canning, 2 to 3 inches of water. So I measured it out, and that's the length of my pointer finger, is 3 inches ish. So I just filled it up to that and called it good. Now if you're doing a bunch of canning where you get one cycle going, get that out, and then you're doing another cycle, you need to double check to make sure that you have plenty of water still in there. Sorry. Trying to talk and do things at the same time is a little difficult. So yes, I'm sure you can imagine walking and chewing bubblegum for me is a little difficult. But I still manage. It's looking so good. There's a part of me that is like, I could go get another jar. There's also a part of me that wants to kind of just leave what's left and kind of finish cooking up the potatoes and having this for dinner. Honestly, I think I might. Okay, now we're going to put the lids and rings on. Before you do that, we got to wipe down the tops, the rims of the jars, just to make sure that there's nothing on there that is going to hinder a good seal. Now some people will say, oh, you can use white vinegar on a paper towel to wipe some of the rims down, but it's only on certain types of foods, and I get confused on what you can use it on and not, so I just use a paper towel that I get wet. And then we will, okay, and then you also have to be careful, because when your lids are in your pot, they can get stuck together, and so sometimes you might end up with 2 lids. Okay, and then we just make it fingertip tight. Well, see, there we go, getting 2 stuck together. Don't need that. So I have 7 quarts made up of soup, and honestly I could have probably got 8, but maybe 9. But look at me go, I just made dinner for tonight. Are on good. Jars are hot. Okay. And this is what it looks like. Okay. Gotta be careful placing them in. Sometimes if you bonk them too much, they could shatter. And so for soups, I like using wide mouth jars, because it makes it easier when it comes time to get the soup out. It makes it easier to dump it. Okay, so had to take a break, because as I was getting ready to start pressure canning everything, I actually looked at the time and realized it was 2 o'clock, and I was going to have to go get my kids from school in an hour, and it's going to have to pressure cook for 90 minutes. So I didn't have time to do that. So I put everything in the jar to keep everything, or in the canner to keep everything warm. And now we're gonna pressure can. All right. See how this goes. Maybe. That's not. do it from opposite ends. You're not boo-hooing anymore? Okay. Okay.
I went the wrong way.
I know, the big box that the canner was in is... Okay. So I think that it's on. We're gonna go from there. Hopefully I don't blow up my house. So now that I have the lid on and it's on good and snug, this has to, once it starts steaming consistently for 10 minutes, then I will put the weighted gauge on. And so it has to pressure for, can't hardly see that, 10 pounds for 90 minutes. So we will see how it goes. And it can take a little bit for it to start building up some pressure in there. And I could probably turn the heat down some, but it'll take about a little bit for it to really start getting the steam coming up. And once it's consistent and it's not sputtering, like a little steam, kind of like how it's doing, once it's very consistent, then you set a timer for the 10 minutes and then put the weight on. So we will see. We'll come back. Okay. I gave up. I can't, the lid's on crooked and I can't fix it. It won't move. So it's just going to sit there till maybe at least it cools down and maybe I can get it open. So we'll just put the cans of soup in the fridge and try again another time. This is why I don't can by myself. It's fine. It's fine. It's all fine. It's all fine, right? It's all fine. And we're back with another, hopefully not failure. So we got the one who actually knows how to do all the canning here. And today we are going to do a chicken noodle soup. Minus the noodles. Canning day. Afternoon. So, come along for the ride. Eric is currently chopping up celery. And we are using our roasting pan to get everything cooked up in there. And I had already pre-made the chicken the other night. Seasoned it up really good and baked it. And then we will be adding in frozen vegetables, chicken broth. What else we adding to it? Onion.
Yes.
We're adding onion.
Celery, carrots.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're going to reprocess the beef.
Yeah. And then we are going to reprocess the beef stew with my technical malfunction of not actually getting to fully process it yesterday because I was having difficulties with the canner lid. So we got that going, and I'm gonna need to get some more jars cleaned up.
Someday we'll have a large candy kitchen, but that is not today. And even though we'll have a large kitchen in the main house, we really want to have a canning kitchen at the farm to save the mess and the heat and all the stuff that goes with canning. We want to be able to do all that over there where our primary garden is. It just makes it easier. The old house that we're converting into a barn has got a room on the back side that we're going to convert. It's about 16 by 16, and it's got a room off to the side that honestly needs to be torn off and rebuilt, which I will do.
It all just needs to come down and something new needs to be built, but we're the
No.
Bealers and we don't do it that way.
We're going to recycle it.
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
It'll be glorious in the end.
Yeah, we definitely do not have an aesthetically pleasing farm.
Yeah.
It's a farm. It's
It will be when it's done. Let's get you guys over here. You can watch the action. My amazing, not really knife skills, but they get the job done.
Life skills are better than mine. No comment.
No comment. You know, it's proof that you don't need a huge amount of space to preserve food, you know. The entirety of this guest house is not that big, and this is a very basic kitchen. I mean, but we've canned in it before with good luck. You know, it's all about having a good stove and the right tools. You know, just do what you can where you are. You hear that a lot with people that preserve and prepare, and you don't need 100 acres. You don't need a $10 million kitchen. You don't need a $10,000 kitchen. You just need a kitchen. You need a propane burner on a grill or an outside cook stove, you know, like a Coleman camp stove. Sure, there'd be some challenges, but you can get it done. A dozen well-tended tomato plants, you know, that do a lot. You know, acidic things are the easiest to process. You don't even need a pressure canner for acidic foods like tomatoes.
Nope, you can just use just a really large stock pot.
Yeah. You can do jams, jellies without a pressure canner. I mean, there's a host of things you can do without a ridiculous amount of equipment. This is All-American canner.
930.
A 930. Yeah. Will hold 14 quarts. So we should be able to process all of this soup in one go. At least in theory. Alright. So, cut up some chicken. You guys can see there. So like she said, she cooked this chicken in the oven. So it's already fully cooked, just like the beef was done in crock pot. So, no, it's not necessary that you have to do this, but it's just an extra step. You get a chance to season your inputs a little more, you know.
Yeah.
And
We really don't do much cold packing on stuff.
right. Got an extra in case we needed it, and there was some more in there if we need to get a couple more.
No, I had 5. 30 is all good.
hold on there, folks. I'm just reaching to stir the soup. It'll be about time to open that kitchen window right there. It's the typical husband versus wife paradox of she's not warm, and I'm over here about to combust. So we're not going to put the noodles in to save the swelling from pressuring them, you know. Because you should be heating this up anyway. I forgot something really important.
Oh, yeah, the tea bags go in the water.
It's amazing what a difference that makes.
I'm pretty sure you don't just want boiled water.
No.
Somebody here consumes a lot of sweet tea.
But it's not like Alabama sweet tea. It's Missouri sweet tea. So it's not like syrup-ish.
It ain't McDonald's.
No, I can't do that. Speaking of syrup, though, we got our supplies today to tap maple trees. We're a little bit behind, I think, but I think we're still gonna. We've got a few around on our properties. I think we're gonna still tap them and see what we can get a little bit to make some maple syrup. So that'll be a video coming up. See what I'm looking at there, because I think I'm getting pretty close on the chicken. I need, that'll work. You know, these electric roasters are a very handy dandy way to extend your cooking because they hold a lot. You don't have to have a super powerful burner. They work good for a lot of things. We cook apple butter in it. Works really good for apple butter. If you get started in this, we would definitely encourage you to buy your canning flats in bulk, and we'll put a link in the video description of where you can get those off of Amazon.
Another video I talk about ways to get started, you know,
Yep.
go to auctions and post on Facebook and put this garage sale open for canning jars, canning supplies.
Yep, Facebook Marketplace. Any and every estate sale is a good place. We actually know a nice lady I'd done some carpentry work for, and the Optimist Club here, or the Lions, I don't remember if it was Optimist or Lions Club, but they used to make apple butter every year, and they would sell it as a fundraiser. And we were talking about that, and they had stopped doing it, just lack of participation. She asked if we needed any jars, and I said, I always need jars. And she's like, well, you come see me at what would have been her parents' house. Both of them had passed. And she gave us, I don't know, I think we picked up 30 or 40, 50 cases of jars. Some of them from the 60s and 70s, brand new in the box, never opened. Basically, her parents, every time they had a little extra money and they found canning jars that they felt were reasonably priced, they bought them. And that turned into no exaggeration, of a barn full of jars. And I don't know what she ended up doing with the rest of them. I picked up as many as I felt appropriate to take. Get you guys turned around here. You know, but it was a boon. We probably doubled our jars. A lot of them were not pressure style jars. If you've been around the canning scene, you know that water bath jars do not necessarily require to be pressurized jars like the ball jars and stuff. And my mom and many folks over the years saved every mayonnaise jar when they came in glass, and I mean just every jar. There are some modern pasta sauce jars that will accept a canning ring and a canning flat. Not all of them. I do save, and we save and wash all of our glass pasta jars though. And we save and wash the lids in the dishwasher. We don't use them for preserved food that requires pressuring, where we would risk it. I think we kind of plan on maybe doing things like we'll test run a few for maybe like maple syrup or jams or jellies to see what kind of seal we get, and just try a few. I don't think their seal life would be as long as a new flat, but it's worth a try, we think.
So, I picked Piper up. She's been playing with the skunk.
Oh my.
Our cat.
My wife has this oddity that she likes recently deceased skunk smell. It's not normal. Not at all.
And not fresh skunk smell. It's got to be old.
Roadkill skunk. So, it's the only thing that'll do.
I think that's the only thing that's wrong with me.
some in the fridge still. I'm gonna have to pull it out and heat it up quick. I'm gonna do that. So set this back on the stove. Just a little bit more. This is just simply the difference of cooking it down from one day to the next. When you're doing this, you're gonna make a mess. You just gotta accept that fate and clean it up. I think the dog is agreeing. You can hear her over there whining. Bruiser. She's so dramatic for such a little dog. Alright, it's been 10 minutes. Hard to see the steam, but it's pretty consistent. I'm going to put the weight on at 10 pounds. We have been 75 minutes. 10 pounds, 243. I'm a little concerned about that off-gassing, so instead of just turning it off, I'm going to turn it all the way to low and let that pressure come down, hopefully slowly. I'm worried that if it depressurizes from this steam seat too quickly, that it will bust the jars. I don't think it would, but I also don't want to risk it. Been setting for a while. I know the kitchen's a mess. We had dinner and getting ready to clean up. Got it all loosened up. We're gonna see if we can get the top off here. It's not completely cooled, but it looks pretty good in there. We're gonna leave it just setting in there to finish cooling, lightly covered. I think it'll be just fine. That'll take a couple of hours, but before it's cool enough to come out. But I think it's gonna look pretty good.